Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Chase, aka That Gay Jedi, and welcome to another video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I am very nervous to be making this video. This video is probably not what you think it's going to be. Honestly, this video is not just me going to be crapping all over the Bad Batch or saying like I don't like the Bad Batch because no. No, I'm making this video because of the weird like shame and like internalized shame I have felt over not liking this show. And sort of like the lessons I've been learning through not liking a piece of Star Wars media. So that's what this is about. And without further ado, let's get into it. So typically I consider myself someone who likes Star Wars, just kind of likes all Star Wars. There's usually not something I really don't like. Book of Boba Fett wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I loved it and I had fun with it. But for some reason, this show is kind of proving to be a little bit of a challenge, which I'm excited to talk about. And also I just want to say too, I'm someone who tries to put out as much sort of optimism, I guess, not positivity, but optimism into the fandom as I can, especially here on my channel, because God knows YouTube is just a gross I love YouTube, but YouTube is just sort of there's a lot of toxic, grifty culture, very negative. I'll just say negative. Very negative content is made about a lot of different fandoms, and it spreads a lot of entitlement and it spreads a lot of toxicity across those fandoms. And I try not to do that. So honestly, this video is me still doing that, but in a way that is a little bit less hee hee ho ho. It's me getting very real with you guys. And honestly, I hope that it helps. I hope that someone else can identify with this, because it's just it's a weird little experience I'm going through. Basically, since the premiere of Bad Batch, I've kind of shared with very specific friends how I don't like it, and I feel bad for not liking it, and I don't want to talk about how I don't like it because I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. But it's kind of led me to learn a little bit more about toxic positivity, which is obviously something thrown out there, kind of a clickbaity thing to be talking about. But I used to think that toxic positivity was basically just liking everything and just being positive about everything and kind of being blind to anything's faults, which I think in part is probably, a toxic positivity vibe. But I feel what I've learned from not loving this piece of Star Wars media, which again, is the first time I've ever not liked something from Star Wars in terms of visual media. I'm also learning that toxic positivity can also lead me to assume that if I don't like something, because I consider myself a positive person, if I don't like something, I almost sometimes my gut impulse thing is to think that, oh, there's some I can't believe people are just eating this up or not thinking about this or this, or not taking that in consideration, which is insane and very gatekeepy. But again, this is me being very real with you guys, me being very vulnerable with you guys, and I don't sit there very long because I'm able, thank God, to identify what my brain is doing. But my toxic positivity to me kind of can the reason it turns toxic sometimes is because I start kind of wanting to gatekeep. I have the impulse to sort of critique other people for liking something that I don't like because I like everything, hence the toxic and the positive. But then also what happens is if I don't like something, which I don't love the Bad Batch, if I don't like something, I assume that something's wrong with me. And I feel really a weird amount of shame around it. And I feel like there's something wrong with me because all these people love it and all these people spew how much they love it on the internet, which is amazing. I don't mean spew in a bad way. I spew about Willow all the time, and people don't like Willow. Not people, but some people don't like Willow, which to me is wild. But also I can get it. I'm yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it. But I don't know. Then there's this thing that happens where because I'm either assuming that other people are wrong because they like something that I don't like, or because I am feeling guilty for not liking something that I feel everyone else loves. People love that show, and I'm I don't get it, so there must be something wrong with me. So what happens is that I get quiet and I feel I can't share my opinions about it because I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, which again is a somewhat generous thing to do, I guess. It's I don't mean generous isn't I'm so cool for doing that. I just mean it's a positive trait, more or less, to be to not want to yuck someone's yum. That is a positive thing. But the toxicity, I think, comes in the form of not feeling I can actually share my feelings or share my critiques, which are valid. Like everyone has opinions and everyone's opinions are valid. You know what I mean? So it's like this weird thing, and it's surprisingly shame-based, even though it's not necessarily like put onto me by any specific person, or like I haven't had very many like, you know, nasty experiences that have left me scarred in the fandom, thank God. But it's interesting, and I feel like I kind of wanted to bring it up a little bit because I feel like not talking about it adds to sort of like other people feeling it without being able to identify it and then navigate it themselves. I don't know. Toxicity is toxicity. It doesn't matter if it's toxic negativity or toxic positivity. Like that shit spreads, and it spreads far and wide, and it affects everyone. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up a little bit. And I don't know. I just feel like all this like initial reaction that I'm talking about, where it's like, oh, well, there's something wrong with them or me or something, like there's something wrong, and it kind of like those initial reactions and thoughts and feelings kind of they're dangerous because they can lead to actual like toxic behavior. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I think I'm trying to counteract. I'm first and foremost trying to internalize this publicly, which is a very weird experience, but I'm basically like, okay, great. Like I'm able to identify it and stop it at like the intellectual and emotional level so that it would never come to the point where I'm like lashing out, which I never would do. But anyway, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think it's toxic, like thoughts are a slippery slope, and they can lead to a lot of toxic behavior. So instead of going down that route, I guess this video is a reminder that you can be a fan of something and not like everything that thing puts out. I can love Star Wars and be like a big Star Wars fan and not like all of Star Wars. Like I was thinking about it the other day. I like food, and yet there's no impulse to gatekeep food in my life. Like I love chicken pad thai. If someone didn't like chicken pad thai, I wouldn't be like, well, they just don't get chicken pad thai. They don't get it. Or I'm better than them because I like chicken pad thai. Like I would never do that. That's insane. So I was thinking about it, I'm like, why can't that happen with media? Like, why can't that be the same thing? Like, I feel like, honestly, going back to the Willow example, like I feel like sometimes people look at me and they're like, wow, I can't believe you like Willow. Like that's like so like childish or this or this or this, or it's not sophisticated or this or whatever. And it's like, no. Like you just like what you like. And a lot of times you don't really have a say in what you like. You either like it or you don't. You know, it's like, again, it's like food. So I've started thinking about every piece of media as food. And that has kind of helped. And outside of all that, I guess this is just my coming out video as a Star Wars fan who actually doesn't like every piece of Star Wars content. Which feels pretty good. Feels good to say that. I'm happy. I hope you're happy. I hope this rambling made any form of sense, because I just thought it might help someone. It might be useful. It might be cool to talk about. It might like instigate an interesting conversation amongst fandom. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for listening to my ramblings. If you're loving The Bad Batch, I love you for loving it. I hope you keep loving it. I hope you love it even more now. And if you don't love The Bad Batch, then you're valid. And if you like it somewhere in the middle and it's just fine to you, slay queen. Yes, all of it. It's just food, okay? It's just food at the Star Wars buffet. And you either put it on your plate or you don't, or you put a little bit on your plate. And you go back for seconds or you don't go back for seconds. I'm done with the analogies. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, because I do put out regular Star Wars, Stranger Things, and Marvel content. Thank you all so much for watching. It really means the world. And may the Force be with you always.